Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever wondered how we can actually hold our cities accountable for all the promises they make? Well, today we're going to dive right into that. We're looking at a new system that's designed to, well, grade a city's performance, making everything a lot more transparent and clear for all of us.
It sounds like a simple question, right? But the answer can be super complex. When a city promises better services or more jobs, how do we, the people who actually live here, track their progress? How do we get past the speeches and get to the hard data? That's really the core problem we're digging into.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll kick things off by looking at what sparked this whole change, the mandate for accountability. Then we'll jump into the city's new scorecard. After that, we'll get into the good stuff, the priorities being measured, how those targets actually line up with reality, and we'll finish up by looking at what this all means for smarter governance.
All right, so where did all this come from? This whole framework didn't just pop up out of nowhere. No, it was actually a direct response to a really clear and pretty urgent call for much better oversight. It really all kicked off when the Auditor General took a hard look at the city's annual report and basically said, hey, we need a lot more clarity here. And just like that, there was an immediate mandate. The city had to step up and find a better, more transparent way to show its work and prove its performance.
So the city needed a solution, right? And what they came up with, well, you can basically think of it as a report card for the entire city, grading it on all the key things that matter to us. Okay, so the official name is a bit of a mouthful, the MFMA Circular 88 Output Scorecard, but let's just call it the C88 Scorecard. And this isn't just some local idea, it's a framework that comes straight from the National Treasury. The whole point is to create a common language, to make sure all cities are reporting on their performance in a way that's standard, measurable, and you can actually compare them.
And I want to be super clear here. This isn't just some side project that sits on a shelf. Nope, it's woven right into the city's most important plans. The Integrated Development Plan, that's the big long-term vision, and the Service Delivery and Budget Implementation Plan, which is basically the yearly action plan. That means this scorecard is right at the heart of everything the city does.
Okay, now for the part I think is really interesting. What are they actually measuring? This is where we see those big abstract promises that we hear all the time get turned into real concrete numbers that affect our daily lives.
The scorecard really zeroes in on four big areas. We've got economic growth, delivering reliable basic services, of course, tackling the energy crisis and load shedding, and housing. Let's take a look at a specific goal for each one. First up, economic growth. The target is huge, creating 35,000 work opportunities every single year through public employment programs. So you see, it's not just a vague promise of more jobs. It's a specific number the city has to aim for and answer to.
Then you've got basic services. Check this out. The plan is for 4,500 new sewer connections each year. That's a direct measure of real infrastructure actually expanding into the communities that need it most.
And on the critical issue of energy, this one's a biggie. The goal is a 100% success rate for restoring unplanned power outages within the standard time frame. I mean, wow, that is setting the bar incredibly high for reliability.
But, setting targets is one thing. Making sure everyone agrees on how they're measured, that's the other half of the battle. And this is where the system gets really smart, because its strength is in having super clear definitions, so there's no wiggle room.
So for example, what does responded to even mean? It doesn't just mean a quick phone call or an automated email. No way. The scorecard is super specific. An official has to be physically there, on site, starting the fix within 48 hours. It's a definition that demands real, tangible action.
And this just goes to show the scorecard isn't set in stone. It's a living, breathing document. Housing targets, for instance, aren't just numbers pulled from thin air. They're actually adjusted to align with real-world things, like the available budget and the rising costs of construction. And that idea of adapting to reality is so important here, because this scorecard isn't just about checking boxes. It's also about being smart and acknowledging the real-world pressures that we are facing in our own lives.
I mean, just listen to this quote. The city's planning explicitly aims to account for the financial strain on its residents. It recognizes that high inflation and interest rates directly impact people's ability to pay for services. They get it. So, what does that actually look like in practice? Well, check out the revenue collection target. Ideally, you'd want to see 100%, right? But the target was set at a more conservative 92%. And why? To reflect the economic reality that many residents are struggling. It's a pragmatic and frankly empathetic way to do financial planning. Okay, so let's just quickly trace that journey one more time. It all began with a mandate, a call for clarity. The solution was to adopt the C88 scorecard. That led to concrete action with clear, measurable targets. And the secret sauce? The whole system allows for adjustment, making sure those targets are always grounded in reality.
So, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. This entire framework is designed to take those vague, fuzzy goals and turn them into public, measurable promises. It creates a direct line of sight between what the city plans to do and the results that we can all see and feel in our own communities.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to chew on, doesn't it? A tool like this provides incredible clarity and accountability, for sure. But is achieving a perfect score on paper the same thing as creating a perfect city in reality? That's a question we're thinking about. Thanks so much for tuning in.